Hello everyone, welcome back to Real Red Talk, your favourite football fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. On today's show, we're going to be discussing Jesse Lingard's interview with Steven Bartletts on the diary of a CEO. Alejandro Garnacho is set for a new contract. When will he announce that, or when will we announce that, should I say? My boy Ahmad has just received an award for Player of the Month in the Championship. We'll discuss his progression. And we're going to break down the Wan-Bissaka revival, e.g. the Undertaker, basically, because of his performances of late. The guy's been absolutely flying. As always, of course, we have Sam on the show. How's your Thursday been so far, Sam?
Yeah, it's good. Long day at work, but we run, don't we? We roll. And I came up with a Wan-Bissaka thing.
Okay.
It's hard to do to put it into thing, but I can write it. So the resurgence.
The resurgence? One way.
Yeah.
That's hard to say.
Yeah.
That's very hard to say.
I was trying to think of like a pun, but like the Renaissance, the Wan-Renaissance, the Renaissance. Yeah. It's tough. I'm trying to think of a better pun, but I'll come up with one.
I like the idea. The craft just is it the execution is
needs some work. It needs some work. It needs some work.
For sure. Just a quick one, guys. If you're enjoying the content currently at the minute on the YouTube or on the TikTok, make sure you subscribe to the channel and smash a like on the video, and get involved in the comment section as we go through the topics on the table. We're going to start off with the interview with Jesse Lingard. As I mentioned before, he's done an interview with Steven Bartletts on the diary of a CEO. And there's a couple of interesting quotes coming from this. He's discussed several topics. He slammed the lack of structure, control at the club, which basically blames on the Glazers. He also took aim at the club for their handling of the collapse of his proposed move to Newcastle, and a couple of more things as well, more on the kind of the human side. So I wanted to start off with the direct quotes about the structure and the Glazers and stuff like that. And he says there was no control, no structure, people doing what they want, basically. It was like a free-for-all. We don't know who's calling the shots. And, of course, now they want to sell the club. We're just behind on a lot of things. Players didn't really take a view. They're so behind on everything. You see Manchester City's facilities, Tottenham's facilities. People are miles ahead, even the social side of things. And then the last bit was, I went to them in 2017 about YouTube and doing content. I just wanted them to get up to date with everything and the new things that are happening. Now, Sam, I actually agree with a lot of the stuff he says in this interview. I know the importance is, to run a club at the top level, make sure the team are winning week in, week out. That's an absolute must. But everything else that surrounds that needs to fall in place behind it for it to show for everything to connect together so it works. And it seems like United are behind on everything at the minute, doesn't it?
Yeah, everything you just read out, I agree 100%. We know for a long time the club has been behind, not just in the terms of the training ground, in terms of the stadiums falling apart. The way we handle transfers is beyond. Like, when was the last time we did a transfer and you're like, oh, I didn't know that. Was it Donny? Was the only one?
Yeah, that was the only the biggest surprise. But that was a player that Solskjaer didn't even want, did it?
Every other player has been like 2 years chasing him, money, not been able to bid. Everybody knows who we're going for. They know who we're going. It's always dragged out. We always overpay, and we always overpay on wages, and that's the way it is. And then in terms of modernising the club, our ticket system, if we just use an example, is absolutely abysmal. Is one of the worst ticketing systems I've ever had to deal with in my life. Like, just getting tickets if you're not a season ticket holder, getting tickets for game is next to impossible unless you know somebody. It's next to impossible.
Well, sorry to interrupt you there, Sonny. Just announced the thing with the recent season tickets, haven't they? That the cup holders, the one who had that ticket, and now the one's being prioritised. So now there's none left for next season as well. I don't know if you was going to mention that, but
yeah. Well, they also did a thing of like this. They sold out of memberships after they broke the record for amount of ticket memberships sold. I think they were waiting for the record so they could promote that on social media. They sold out of it, and then they then offered a tier that you had to pay for, by the way, but you couldn't purchase any tickets. It was just to transfer a ticket from somebody else. So you had to then pay a yearly membership, couldn't purchase any tickets, couldn't apply for any tickets. It was just so you could get a ticket transferred. That is unbelievably fucked up for the Glazers. I can't not believe they do stuff like that. But that's just an example of the way our clubs run. Like, ticketing nowadays should be so easy. It should be mobile phone. You buy it, you download it to your phone, and it's taken us till like last season to do that, to get it on your mobile phone. Absolutely unbelievable. And it should be as easy as somebody wants your ticket, you should be able to go, cool, buy, and send it to them, and then it should be that easy. But it's not. And then buying a ticket, like I've been trying to get a ticket to the Barcelona game since they announced it last year. Like it's just so that's just an example of how behind the times Manchester United are. Put aside the obvious stuff with the training, the stadium, the transfers, the scouting, all of that stuff. We're all behind the times. And yeah, I give Jesse Lingard a lot of shit for his social media antics, but he clearly understands it, how to use it as a brand, how to use it to promote himself, how to use it to get across whether it's his clothing line or whether he's selling, etc. He understands it. So, and I doubt somebody like Ed Woodward or John Murtough or somebody like a banker, Richard, I doubt they understand it. I doubt they have any understanding of how it works. And as somebody who works in digital marketing, I know exactly how important it is for a brand to use and stuff like that. And they probably don't make enough of it. They probably don't use it enough. And yeah, I agree with him on every single point he came across. He was spot on with all of that.
Well, there's been quite a spark of debate on this, and people in the TikTok let me know as well. Just your opinions if you can. People, obviously go for the jugular straight away with Jesse and saying like, oh well, you should be winning on the pitch, you shouldn't be dancing on and off it. And I get it, because when you're losing, the last thing you want to do is the last thing you want to see. Apologies, is Lingard doing the griddy in the fucking after the game. Like I understand that completely. But the thing that he said about the YouTube, that this is the way the world's going at the minute. It adds to branding, marketing, exposure. So, like you said yourself, you work in digital marketing. You know how important it is. And I actually don't think at the time, I would say it would have been 2017. So under Mourinho, obviously I don't think Mourinho probably would have allowed it. Like he would have been a fan of it. But at that time, I think if you want to progress that side of things, Lingard would have been the perfect kind of guy for it. But again, it's a little bit confusing. It's a bit frustrating because you don't want that to mix with results. People automatically tie that to when we have a bad result, then, don't they? And that's the
There's
thing
a way of doing it. There's ways of doing it. Like, it's all about optics. Obviously, celebrate your successes if you're doing well. Like, champion. Obviously, you want to announce new signings and stuff like that. It's all good. That's all fine. But when the team is going through a bad period or a bad time, don't be ignoring that fact on social media and be tone deaf to it. That's like you denying the reality. Like, social media is fake. We all know it. It's not real. It's, for the most part, people on social media just show you the good side of stuff. And I think that's what fans get annoyed at. Like, these players coming out and the fake apologies on social media and the we go again and stuff. Fans just got tired of it because it's fake and it's not real and it's bullshit.
Remember that period we had of that under Ole? Like, Jesus. Every game, like, we'll be back again. Don't worry about it.
People have had it. People are sick of it. Like, just don't do it. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. And just like, there's global superstars in social media in terms of football, like Cristiano Ronaldo and people like that. You obviously, like, you see their impacts with social media, but like, it's very hard for a brand to keep its finger on the pulse of its fans and its customers. And Manchester United is one of the worst at doing it. Like, they are completely tone deaf to their fans and how they think and that. And if they listen to him a little bit, they'd probably be a bit more successul. But
I think that's a very sensible comment. Ironically, United leak more than the stadium. So, there's that. For people asking for context, what Jesse Lingard said, I'll very quickly just mention it. He was obviously talking about the structure at the club, the Glazers, and how they're basically failing, which is nothing that we disagree with. He spoke about his rejected move to Newcastle as well in January. So he said they let a couple of players go out on loan, but when it came to me, John Murtough rang and said, no, you're not going out on loan. I was like, well, he's gone on loan. Let me go and enjoy my football as I'm not playing here. And then Murtough said, what do you want, days off? And he said, no, I just want to go and play football. So then they stopped the loan. I was pissed off. And when he said, do I want days off? So I messaged him and I said, I'm going to take 2 days off now just because he said that, basically just to spite him. And then they put out Jesse's asked for 2 days off in the media, in all the papers and stuff. And then he was like, what? I had to go on Twitter and put it out straight away, that facts that he didn't ask, all this kind of stuff. A bit of a back and forth there, sorry, Sam. But there's 2 questions on this one. First of all, why would you not sell him for money in the summer when he just had a great loan spell at West Ham? Like, question marks around that, and recoup some money for him. Because he hardly played in that season, didn't he? Like, he literally got a couple of minutes. I remember him coming on in Europa League game. Was it Europa League or maybe Champions League against someone? And he was in midfield with like Mata and Donny van der Beek, and he just didn't look interested at all. And then he was like, right, well, you fucked up there in the summer. You've got the chance now in January to get a little bit of money for him for a loan fee. And then they don't let him go out again. Like, does any of this make sense to you at all?
They don't seem to be connecting the dots in terms of the manager and the board. Like, I think, didn't he speak to Ole and was like, if you don't give me minutes, like, will you let me go alone? He said, yeah. So Ole was like, yeah, go. And then it got to, obviously, Ole lost his job and Ragnick came in. I think Ragnick told him the same thing as well, didn't he? Ragnick was like, you can go. Like, you go. And then John Murtough stepped in and basically said, no, it's not happening. So where's the connection between what the manager wants and what the manager thinks is best for the team and the player? And then the board's just completely shutting it down and having final say. Like, surely the manager knows best in terms of team selection, in terms of tactics, in terms of the harmony of the squad, etc. Surely you should be listening to him. But clearly Manchester United think differently. Like, we all know apparently Joe Glazer has final say on any transfers, which I think is a recipe for disaster, really. Yeah. Like, what does that guy know about
He hasn't
football?
got his finger on. No. Yeah, he hasn't got his finger on the pulse, has he, at all?
When was the last time he came to Old Trafford? I can't remember. When was the last time he even sort of showed up to a fan meeting? I can't remember. Like, the guy doesn't know shit about football. This is why the club's a state.
It's all about power, innit?
Yeah.
It's all about being the yes man and being like...
It's money. It just comes down to money. What signing can we get in the door that will make the most revenue, shirt sales, and social media clicks so we can sell more products? That's it. That's all he cares about.
You make a great point there, because in January, a lot of people were asking for signings under Ragnick. Ragnick was, lining out players like Julian Alvarez, Zakaria, Vlahovic, all these guys. And maybe with the Glazers sanctioning that and Murtough and Arnold saying, like, Jesse can go out, there would have been questions then about somebody possibly coming in. Yeah. Are you going to go get someone to fill that because we need an attacker or etc.? So you can see why they've done it. Again, it always comes back to power and money. But the fact that Murtough said, what do you want, days off, rather than getting to the root of the problem and resolving it, it's a mess, and it's just more evidence of how stupid the people are in charge of this club, innit?
I think, like, when we, obviously after the reign of Ed Woodward ended, Richard Arnold came in, John Murtough, Darren Fletcher, who I still don't know what he does as a job at this point. I know is it technical director? Does he make the brews at Old Trafford? I don't know. Yeah. Me and Chivy were talking on a show, I remember, and he was like, oh, you have to give him a chance, give him a clean slate. And it's just like, it's the same old shit. The same shit. Different people. It's the same shit. It's bankers running a football club with Darren Fletcher, who loved Darren Fletcher for what he did for United. Good player, really good servant to the club. But he's never been a technical director. He's never done this in his life. He's not done this job before. Why are we not getting somebody in like Paul? Like, we're supposed to be the best club in the world, best in class for everything. Why is Paul Mitchell not at the top of the queue for that? Why is Paul Mitchell not be like, sort him out, get him in the door? And
they'll lose out on the job, innit? That's why. That's why they won't get him in.
But it's just basically. Like, this is my point. Like, they don't have the hubris to put their ego aside and just be like, I don't know about the football side of it. I'm a successful businessman, and we can debate that all day long, whether they are or not. Yeah. But that's what they're good at. Have the ego to step aside and go, I'm going to hire the best people to run this club. So I make even more money. Yeah, like, that's the baffling thing. You could make even more money if we were winning trophies, winning Champions Leagues. Like, you could have even more money, but they want the power and the money. They don't want to step away and stuff like that. So it's just, it's ego and it's control and power. Like you said, it's just complete and utter. It's a mess, and we need to learn a thing or two from a few good different clubs and learn how to structure your club. Like Newcastle, I don't like the owners, don't like what they stand for. But the way they've structured that club, the way they've stepped away and gone, we'll provide the funding. They've got Dan Ashworth in, Eddie Howe. They've got different person for the commercial side, and they've hired all these football people and got them in place.
Professionals.
That's how you do it. That's how you run a business. That's how you do it.
There's a lot of noise. Well, obviously with the new owners coming in, whether I don't know, that could be Dubai or Jim Ratcliffe or someone from the US. Do you think they'll take a look at this when they come in, the director of football, the CEO Richard Arnold, and make a change? Because it needs to happen, doesn't it?
I'm hoping they learn from the Glazers' mistakes and the Glazers' failures and go, look, we can't run all of this stuff ourselves. Like Jim Radcliffe, lifelong Manchester United fan, knows the history of Manchester United. That was a season ticket holder from Failsworth, etc. Was, like I said, knows how to appreciate Manchester United as a fan. Should he be putting himself in a position of making footballing decisions for the club? Probably not, because he's not worth. I know he owns Nice and the Swiss. Is it the Swiss team?
Yeah, it's I can't remember the name of the team, but it's two clubs that he owns.
But he doesn't get. I don't think he gets involved in transfers or anything like that, does he? Like he's chairman, etc. And hopefully he's the same approach for Manchester United, and he brings in, like, I know Dan Ashworth has now gone to Newcastle, but Paul Mitchell's still out there. Yeah. Go get him. Go get somebody like that. Bring somebody in who knows what they're doing. Hopefully they learn the lessons, because if they learn those lessons and they bring in the right people, Man United makes money. We've got our annual thing is like 700 million we bring in. So with a bit of investment and a bit of spend, obviously you're going to be in a negative for a few years, but bringing a bit of spend, you'll get to the point where it just runs itself. We bring in money all the time. Ticket, revenue sales, merchandise, fans across the world. You'll make money. Yeah. You just have to put the right people in place.
Yeah, exactly. It seems to be more and more footballers kind of exposing these situations now, being more public about it. I get the reaction to Jesse Lingard as a player himself. It didn't exactly work out. We felt like we was always waiting for something to happen from him. He'd have his good moments like Palace in the final, and he's had, dancing at Emirates Stadium and this kind of jazz. So that's what I want to try to keep separate. I just want your opinion, guys, whoever's watching live or if you're watching later on, about this Jesse Lingard interview. If you've seen it, what your thoughts on the quotes, if he's wrong in anything he's said. Just give me your opinion, basically. I'd love to hear it. On a more human level, Sam, Jesse mentions how, he's turned to alcohol to deal with the pressure on and off the pitch. His mother, was suffering really bad with depression back in 2019, ended up being admitted into hospital with it. And we're kind of quick to forget that they are humans at the end of the day as well. Like, it's important to see it from that side, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Like, I don't know Jesse's family life. I don't know how bad it is. I don't know what the issues he faces. Obviously, he gave a little bit in this interview, and I'm hoping that he's dealing with it and he's getting the help that he and his family needs. I think, you do forget that they are human beings, they have human being problems, etc. And I don't think you should use that against any player in terms of when you criticise them. I think you criticise them for the things they do on the pitch, and if something off the pitch is affecting their performance on the pitch, then you need to take that into account. Obviously, he wasn't happy at Man United for the last couple of years of his career, and whether that was the way the club's being run plus the stuff that was going on at home, that's probably why. I don't know if that has now been fixed. I don't watch a lot of Nottingham Forest, if I'm honest, so I don't know how well he's playing.
He's not the form like he was at West Ham, but he's still a Premier League player. And it's the thing that was thrown out there is when people go, he's on 200 grand a week, so you can't be depressed or whatever. It's like, come on. Do you know what I mean? You can. Like, money helps, of course, in any situation, but you can still be easily as depressed with all that media attention on you at United. You're not performing. You got 0 goals and 0 assists in the first season under Solskjaer, I think, or the second season it was. So it's pressure, isn't it?
Money doesn't solve everything, but it definitely helps a lot of problems. Yeah. It definitely alleviates a lot of stress and a lot of problems. Now, a lot of depression is situational. So you could be depressed because you don't have money, you're struggling to eat, etc. and stuff like that. And that's stuff that would be solved by money and earning a good wage. But then there's other things where, like, for me, for example, like, I've got a decent job, live in my own flat, got a girlfriend, healthy life, etc. But I have a chemical deficiency, so I suffer with depression every single day. It doesn't matter what I do. It's just going to be in your head, and that's just the way I'm built and the way I'm wired.
Exactly.
And Jesse Lingard might be the same way. I know he was saying his mum struggled to get out of bed on a daily basis.
That 100 grand in your bank wouldn't change the chemical imbalance.
No,
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Like, some people are just wired like that. Like,
yeah, and it sucks, and people suffer from it. But you can do things to help yourself. You can do things to solve those issues and alleviate it to the point where it's not a massive. Where it's not a huge hindrance. It takes work, takes a lot of hard work, takes a lot out of you to get there, but it can be done. And hopefully Jesse, by talking about this, is starting to sort of figure it out and get his life together. And if football's an outlet for him, fantastic. I never had a problem with Jesse Lingard being himself. I had a problem with the way he carried himself at certain times, and the way he saw himself in terms of the status of his player. That was always my issue with him. I thought he's a decent footballer. From what I've read and the people who've interviewed him, he seems like a very decent human being, a fantastic, a really nice person. So you can't say anything bad about him. Every criticism I've had has always been about his performances on the pitch.
Yeah. Like I said, I agree with a lot of the stuff you say there, and I get the things after big games that we've lost, and then you've seen him maybe just keep that kind of stuff off the camera, and I think it was a massive game that we had against someone in Europe. I wish I could remember who it was against, but then he's like launching his clothing line just before it, just as we're about to play, and like little things like that. Maybe Jesse himself would probably look back at it and be like, probably not the best timing in doing that. But,
signing up with Mino Raiola as well, like you know United's history with this guy and how much he's fucked it, and you went and signed with him. It's like, look at the optics, man. Just like think about your decisions here. Like it's not going to endear yourself to the fans and not going to help your case. I think there was a lot of, not peer pressure is the wrong word, but a lot of influence in certain players we had in that dressing room around the time. Paul Pogba, Jesse Lingard. That kind of culture was in the dressing room, and I think that didn't help things. I think now Ten Hag has come in, he's wormed those players out and worked out, right, these are the guys that I can rely on, brought in his own players, and he's changed that culture in the dressing room. I think Rashford attuned to it, didn't he? He said mentally last season he was checked out, wasn't there, and he was just allowed to just carry on playing. Nothing happened to him. No consequence happened to him. You saw when Jadon Sancho came in, mentally he's not there, mentally he's not right, he can't get whatever it is going, and Ten Hag has gone, right, out of the team, go get your shit together, go train in Netherlands, away from everything, get your stuff together, and now he's bleeding back into the team. That wasn't happening at United previously, because we didn't, Ollie didn't do that.
That's what Jesse, literally the quote out of Jesse's mouth was, there was no control, no structure, people doing what they want, it was a free-for-all, we didn't know who was calling the shots. So that's what I'm saying, everything he's saying is bang on, and we knew that from last season. You look at the state, this is what I'm saying, more and more people coming out the woodwork now about this, and you can see why last season was such a fucking failure, and why everything was going wrong.
I'd love Ragnick to do a tell-all interview, man. I would love it. Like, just please give me that. Like, before, whenever his NDA ends, whenever his non-disclosure ends, give me an interview, because that would be fascinating.
Yeah, the quotes from that would be absolute gold. But yeah, of course, guys, like we said, let us know your opinion on this Jesse Lingard interview in the comments section. I'm intrigued to see what people think, because I've seen a big split on this. So yeah, let us know. I'm going to move on the topic to your boy Alejandro Garnacho, Sam. News broke, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. Apparently he's agreed terms on a new contract at United. Deal thought to be until 2029, plus an option of an extra year contract worth over 30 grand per week. Are you happy with the news, and what are your thoughts on the figures involved?
Yeah, tied down one of your best young starlets, one of your best players at the minute. Tied down to a long-term contract, so if somebody like a Real Madrid or somebody wants to come in, they're gonna have to pay through the fucking nose for him, which is something we don't do. A lot of the time we let our young talented players go for either for free, like Paul Pogba, or for cheap, like Jimmy Garner, to Everton. What was it, like 14, 15 million or something ridiculous?
Yeah.
And he's not even getting in the team. So that's not worked out for him. We could have just kept hold of him.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid decision. Anyway, yeah, 30 grand. Yeah, it's a lot of money for a 17, 18-year-old. But this is the way of football, unfortunately. You have to pay.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
If you want
sure Madrid would have offered that, innit?
Yeah. You want to keep these players, you have to pay that, unfortunately. I don't like it. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish players had to do a little bit more to earn those sort of contracts, but this is football. I don't think... I love the idea of the Casemiro. Like, Casemiro coming to United is one of the best things that's ever happened to this club. But 70 million, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of fucking money. Like, obviously, fantastic player. I love that he's here, etc. like that. But you just think money's getting out of control, innit, with football. It's just getting
I think it was the Neymar transfer that did that, to be honest. As soon as Neymar went for, I think it was like 150 million, everyone just went, right, everyone put the prices up. And it was just like...
Chelsea were trying to buy Enzo Fernandez. What was it, 105 million? He's had one good season at Benfica, and he's won a World Cup, and that suddenly he puts his price tag up, 10 times what it was. Yeah, like, it's exactly. Just... Well,
how much does Chelsea just play for Mudryk? 100 mil. The full package is worth what?
Yeah, like 88 million plus 30 million add-ons.
Yeah.
So
like that's what I mean. It's getting more and more ridiculous. And doing transfers like that is what opens up the gates for now other teams who are selling. That Mudryk's, like, if you look at his stats, he's been okay. He's had this season. It's like, I don't know, fucking 17 appearances, 12 goals, and 5 assists, which obviously is a good return. But you're in the Ukrainian league, and he's done it for one season. So now other teams around the world, as soon as they got a bit of a star who's performed for one season and he's hot at the time, they're like, right, well, this isn't the time to get ridiculous money for him now.
The chief executive of Shakhtar, Dario Serna, said that exact thing. He said, when we saw, who was it who went? Somebody went for a shit ton of money. I can't remember the player he said. It's a young, talented player. Anyway, he said he when they saw a young, talented player went for a shit ton of money, they went, well, if he's going for that, he's worth this. And that's what happens. If one player starts going for this, they go, oh, he's going for this amount of money, then this guy's worth money. And it just keeps getting up and up and up and up and up and up. Like, well, there was some reports and news stories about if Mbappe was to go back to Real Madrid, it would be $500 million or something like that. $500 million. It's you're just like, for fuck's sake, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? There's $500 million for a player. Like, you're out of your fucking minds.
When you're mentioning them figures, it makes the 30 grand a week seem so small, doesn't it? Even though, like, considering, Brandon Williams is on 50k a week. Like, when was the last time he's played a string of game for us? I can't even remember that. So 30 grand, I don't think, if you could sign down for like 5-6 years, you probably think when he gets to the 4th year, you look to renew it, don't you?
I think it's a 7-year deal. I think they've signed him down for, which is good.
Yeah,
long-term contract. Yeah. But like when Bruno came into United, his first contract, what was he on? Like 60 grand when he came in. Yeah. And everybody was saying, God, that's really low. But like 60 grand a week, like it was like double what he was getting at Sporting Lisbon. And everybody said, oh, it's quite cheap. You're like, Jesus Christ.
Then the flip sides of that as well is because the amount of money that's in football, especially the Premier League, there's a lot of money flowing about the Premier League. So them kind of figures are nothing to big clubs like United, Chelsea, these kind of guys. Which is why you see the demand going up. Just on Garnacho as a player, Sam, how high do you think his potential is? How high? I know you're obviously a massive fan, but where do you think he can go, like, in the future, his career?
Like I said, when I watch him play, he reminds me of Giggs, Kanchelskis. Like, that's his style. Runs at players, likes to take people on, always looking for the goal, always looking for the pass. And obviously Ten Hag rates him because since he's come back from his... it's not a suspension, but like he had some time out of the squad due to his issues being late, etc. Since he's come back, he's been in the squad pretty much every week, hasn't he? Either on the bench or in the starting 11, and he's normally come on at some point. So obviously Ten Hag rates him, and I trust Ten Hag's eye for talent. And I think if he's trained right, if he's developed right, if he's coached correctly, and he gets the correct opportunities, and United continue to progress, could have a massive star on our hands. And if it's costing us 60 grand a week rather than paying out, not 60 grand, 30 grand a week rather than paying out like a couple $100 million to buy a winger, it works out in the long run, doesn't it? You developed him for yourself and you developed your own talent. And then, if he does want to go to a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, etc., in the future, we can sell him for a shit ton of money. So it's still it's all good things in the end, I suppose. But the kid's got serious talent, and I think we've only scratched the surface of how good he can be. I think we're still he's 17, he's 9 years away from his prime. Yeah. So
you had this with South Americans like Argentinians, Brazilians, and etc. You had this affiliate. They had that affiliation with Madrid, don't they, in Barcelona? A lot of these players would love to play for that club. But like we said, we've got 6-7 year contract. So
he was born in Spain as well. I know he plays for Argentina because I think his mum's Argentinian, correct. But he was born in Spain and he came for the Atletico Madrid academy. So he's fully aware of Real Madrid and Barcelona. He grew up around it. That's it. He grew up in Spain, in Madrid, so he knows fucking exactly who Madrid are and all that sort of stuff. So if it's not in his head, I'd call him a liar, because it's definitely in any, like you said, any Latin American kid's head or any Spanish kid's head. One of my favorite guys, Ander Herrera, he said there was 3 clubs he wanted to play for in his career: Athletic Bilbao, Manchester United, and Boca Juniors. They were the third, and it's the same with a lot of Latin American people who want to play for a big Latin American team, Spanish team. That's the 2 teams they want to play for.
Exactly. And bringing it back to these raw talents that we have at the club, do you think they've got more of a chance growing now with this new manager in Ten Hag and coaches at the club? Because it seems a much better environment in it to bring young players into.
For sure. Yeah, they're going to get opportunities. We've seen that with Ten Hag. If you play well and you establish yourself, you get opportunities. Garnacho, perfect example of that. Palestri was chucked on recently, and it had a really good cameo. Was it Charlton?
Yep.
He was really assisted with the cameo. So I'm hoping he gets an opportunity soon. I know Sherez will be very happy about that. I think that kid's got talent. Ahmad is getting his opportunity. I know we're going to get into him in a minute. He's getting his opportunity at Sunderland. And then, Zidane Iqbal, I'm hoping he gets some minutes at some point, because he's been in and around the squad for a lot. He played really well in pre-season. I'm hoping he gets some minutes. I believe Charlie McNeil's going out on loan. So, again, they're going to assess him, see what he can do and stuff like that. So, Ten Hag's the perfect manager to not just develop talent from the youth perspective, but also bring players back from the dead who we were all ready to chuck under the bus. Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford, list goes on and on, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's a professional at rejuvenating players' careers and increasing youth, which we've seen at Ajax with Haller, in terms of the older players who are apparently washed, bringing them back from the dead, and then the younger players who he brought up for the academy, who ended up getting picked off by your Madrids and Juventuses and all them kind of guys. So defo trust in Ten Hag when it comes to young players, and sticking with young players. Young stars, should I say. Ahmad has been voted the PFA Championship Player of the Month for December. 6 goals, 1 assist, becoming a really important player for Sunderland, a starter every single game. And their manager, Tony Mowbray, is it Mowbray? I think it's Tony Mowbray, has had high praise for him. There's a couple of quotes on a read you here. So he says, Ahmad is a special footballer. I think the test for him and his parent club, of course, is he the required level to try and win a Champions League / Premier League. He's in the middle of the box on his favoured left foot, 10 yards out. He's just got to smash that in, and he waits for the defender to come. He can skip past him. We need him to shoot more. It's something I tell him every day. So that's just a little bit of criticism on his game as well, how he can improve. And he said, you don't get bought for 37 million unless you're an amazing talent. I watch him in training with our players, and he does some extraordinary things with the ball. It's stuck to his foot. It's unbelievable how talented he is. And I'm not sure if you've been watching him closely at Sunderland, Sam. It's no secret. I'm a massive fan myself. Do you think he's got a chance when he returns in the summer?
Why don't you take this? You're the fan. You talk about
it. Happily. Yeah. So from what I've seen at Sunderland, from what I've been watching, he tends to operate in a bit of a half space. So like how Bernardo Silva plays for Man City, when even though he's operated in the wing, he drifts in quite a lot, works in that space. Got great close control. He's not the quickest, but I say the main assets I'd associate him with is his composure, his awareness, his intelligence, and his control of the ball as well. And now he started finishing as well, which is what his manager really wanted for him. And I think if he can take them traits into United in the summer under Erik ten Hag, he loves inverted wingers as well. Like that's why he wanted Anthony so really bad. He had Hakim Ziyech at Ajax as well. So I can see him coming in, but I do think Ahmad's future, in my personal opinion, will be as a number 10. Because he's always operating in that spot. You know, whenever we play Wan Matter on the right hand side, and he'd always just drift one edge. That's just his spot there.
Same with Bruno, isn't it? When we play Bruno out on there, he always
exactly. Yeah, I think he's more of a natural 10, and I think with the likes of Alejandro Garnacho, we've already mentioned, Ahmad Diallo, and then Palestri as well, you could have a front three there, like a left winger, right winger, and a 10. So, I think he's got a chance for sure under Erik ten Hag.
I know Erik ten Hag as well. He said recently, didn't he? He was like, they sent him out on loan and they didn't know really what to expect. But he's delivering. And Ten Hag was like, that's something I'm going to have to think about come summertime, which is revealing in itself. Because if Ten Hag is saying, all right, we sent him out and we didn't know what to expect. And now he's considering, because he was asked whether he'd bring him back or not. And he said no, because he's doing so well. I don't want to disrupt that flow and that development that he's getting there and that game time. So that's why he's keeping him out there. So
do you agree with that decision, Sam?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, because he's not going to get in. Like, he's playing on the right, isn't he, for the most part for Sunderland. And you've got Anthony, you've got Sancho to come back, and then you've got Palestri. So he's probably not going to get the game time that he needs to develop this season. Championship. Are they in the Championship or League One, Sunderland?
Championship.
Yeah. So Championship, very, very tough league. He's playing with men. It's physical league, etc. It's only going to do him good to stay there. He's playing really, really well. Obviously, he's won Player of the Month. I put a stat thing up a couple of months ago about like his game to goals ratio, which was really impressive. So yeah, I say keep him out there, keep on loan. Like you said, comes back in the summer. There's no World Cup, no Euros in the summer. Ten Hag has got lots and lots of time, pre-season, etc., to assess, see where he's at. Can he fit him into the team? Can he, maybe like you said, convert him into a 10? And then you've got a sort of understudy to Bruno, rather than having to go out and buy a number 10, etc. So
and Bruno's fit quite a lot of the games as well, innit? So you won't have to pay a big chunk of games. You can slowly kind of drip feed him into the squad like Guardiola did with Phil Foden. I'm obviously not comparing the talents there. I'm just saying like in a similar method.
Like you said, he's versatile. He can play on the right. He can play in a 10. I'm sure he could play on the left as well if he really wanted to. So, and that's what Ten Hag likes. He likes versatile players. Luke Shaw playing absolutely amazing at centre back, and he's played left back. Leacher, he may play in a DM. Like we were thinking about
Casemiro
that.
Casemiro playing at centre back.
Casemiro playing at centre back. Ericsson, didn't he play like a 6?
Oh, he played an 8, a 6, and a 10.
So do you know what I mean? Like plays of Rashford left and right and central. So yeah, versatile player. It's only going to do him benefit for under Ten Hag.
And the one thing, look, it's not all rainbows because he does have things that he needs to improve on. His manager touched on his decision making there at times. He tries to beat an extra man in certain situations, and it's his physicality as well, which is where he's a little bit short. Like he needs to get a bit stronger.
He's young,
on the ball. Exactly.
He's young. Yeah. Give him time. Give him time to develop. Like we forget so many of these players are super young. Anthony's 22, Garnacho's 17. Even Jadon Sancho, what is he? 23, 24.
Yeah, a little bit younger. I think Sancho's only 22, something 22.
Like that. So I mean, these
Anthony's
guys,
21.
Yeah, these guys are young. They're not even near the primes yet. So you're going to have to expect this from them. Rashford, that's the guys you got to start looking at and going, right, these guys need to start delivering. 25, 26, on the cusp of the prime.
Marshalls, Shaws.
These are the guys you're like, right, this is your prime right now. You need to be hitting these marks consistently every single game.
Yeah.
Younger players, you got a bit more patience, a bit more of a wide berth for them. But yeah, I hope he continues to do well, and I hope he continues to absolutely smash it for Sunderland. Sunderland fans, a friend of a friend, our cousin Steve, one of his friends, Mike, is a Sunderland fan, and he's been telling me like, he's absolutely smashing it for Sunderland. Yeah. He's absolutely loving it. He's so good. So they seem happy with him. So yeah, let's give Erik ten Hag a selection headache when he comes back in the summer. that's what you want as a manager. You want too many players and going, who the fuck do I pick? So
you say that's what you want from a manager. What do you think, or what do you believe are the three main components young players need to succeed at that level? When you're at Manchester United, a massive club in the Premier League, what do they need? What's the qualities you want from them?
I think under Ten Hag, it's clearly attitude. That's number one, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to have the attitude and apply it the correct way. Like, you have to sort of look at what he wants, look at what he's looking for you, and take it. And so attitude, discipline, they're the two things Ten Hag is most important to him. So you've got people like Leacher, Anthony, who've got the right attitude and know what they want from him. And then he's Casemiro. I mean, if that guy's not got the right attitude, God knows who has. You know what I mean? So he's that. And then I think you have to have that something special. That's something different. Like, because Ahmad,
off your seat in it. Like
Ahmad, he could just be another long line of players we've developed over the years, and then they go make a career either in the Championship or a lower league Premier League team. Like, you could go through a lot of teams, Championship, Premier League, and you're like, he used to be a United youth prospect. He used to be a United youth prospect. He used to be.
It's true.
There's so many of them. Like, just
people you wouldn't even think at times.
You know what I mean?
Like, what?
Like, they just litter the leagues, and it's just like, that's the cutthroat business of Man United. You've got to have that something special. Rashford had that something special. Garnacho has that something special. There's so many great players. Like, I've mentioned Ravel Morrison so many times on this channel, and he had something special, but his attitude wasn't right. So he didn't make it.
Yeah.
And
that has to be a combination of both.
That's
the thing, isn't it?
That's the way it goes. There's a guy called Ryan Tunnicliffe who his attitude was correct, his discipline was there, but he just didn't have that spark, that specialness to make it. That's it. Sometimes you can have it. You can have the attitude, the thing, work hard, but if you've not got that spark, Manchester United, you can't make it. But Ten Hag's, he's picking the right people so far. So let him continue to do that. Let him continue to get his transfers in. Let him to continue to, if he thinks a player has to be dropped or a player has to be moved aside, trust him, because he's clearly working.
It's not just the discipline on the pitch as well, it's off the pitch with everything that comes with United, all the media attention. It can literally drag a man down. We've seen it happen numerous times. So off the pitch as well, live the correct lifestyle. I've seen Tarek talk about that plenty of times. Like, make sure, you're not fucking coming in late from clubs and stuff like that. That was something that Fergie always paid attention to. Don't know if you heard the story about Rio Ferdinand in town when he was out. And Fergie knew the bouncers and everything, and he knew when he'd been out. Like, where's he been today in training?
He knew everybody, Fergie. Yeah. He knew everybody. Yeah. You can't hide.
I was thinking on the pulse. Exactly. And it's just about living that football lifestyle, being healthy, being on time, having that consistency within your life. Well,
this is, again, another manager we've got who's got the attention to detail to do these things. Like, Ollie, club legend, love him for what he's done for Man United, but he isn't that caliber of manager that you need at Manchester United. Like, he hasn't got it. Fergie, like, Rio told another story. He was saying Rio was saying his granddad was having a bit of a hard time and stuff like that, and he's just like, oh, is he? He's just like, yeah, he's just suffering a bit. He's just like, all right, cool. And his granddad rang him, said, have you sent this drink to my house? And he was just like, what are you talking about? He's just like, my favourite drink. There's like 4 crates of it just showed up at my house. Fergie knew his granddad's favourite drink and just sold it and just sent him a bunch of stuff because he knew it would affect Rio on the pitch if his granddad's suffering. So he wanted to make his granddad feel a bit better, so Rio then alleviated the pressure of it. That's the attention to detail, and Ten Hag has got like spades, and you see it working already for us. Like, who thought we would be able to turn this club around in the time that Ten Hag's done it? Everybody was saying 2-3 years. It's going to take time. He's done it in 6 months. 6 months.
This is the thing. The main thing he was talking about, and the massive issue for us before Ten Hag came in, was culture. It was a culture that was in the dressing room, and by doing little nuanced things like that, that all adds to it. I remember the story that Roy Keane told about the footballs as well. There'd be a woman who'd come in every week. She'd sign to get all the football players to sign the football, and then they'd give it away to charity and stuff like that. And it was one week when he came in, and none of the players signed the footballs apart from like your obvious ones like Keno and stuff. And he told Alex Ferguson about it, and Fergie grilled him, like absolutely blitzed them and was like, make sure you never, ever fucking do that again, because that is disrespectful to the club, it's disrespectful to the staff and the culture. And that's how you set it. And when young players come into the environment with that kind of mentality, it just makes them a better player. They're just more dedicated. It's more a community. It's more of a culture.
Well,
that's what he's saying.
Ten Hag's handled every single issue this season with absolute class and absolute ease.
Yeah.
Ronaldo, imagine that kicking off under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Can you imagine the shit
He'd
that
still be
would have
playing
happened?
now.
It'd just be like chaos. Whereas Ten Hag was like, all right, you left the game. The first time he left that game, the friendly, he was like, all right, no worries. A lot of people left, but we'll draw a line under it. And he did the same thing again. He's like, right, you dropped next week. And but then the next week he was like, no, you stood out your game. I bring you back into the team. You get a second opportunity. And then he disrespected him again. So it's just, he eventually got his way, and he's just like, look, I can't continue to do my job if this guy is bigger than the club. I'm not going to be able to do it. And shipped him out, gone. And it's that's the way it should be. Manager should be above every single player. Club comes first every single time. And Ten Hag's instilling it.
He's certainly a man of principle, isn't he? He's got so many good assets. Ten Hag is like, he's been, to say a breath of fresh air since he's come in would be an understatement. Like,
name one thing he's done wrong.
He hasn't
name one thing.
Nothing wrong. Yeah. And one thing I wanted to touch on, Sam, was one of his main components is reviving these players back from the dead that we've mentioned. Like, we've already mentioned a couple of them in your Luke Shaws, your Rashfords, but one player in particular, Mr. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I quickly want to discuss his resurgence, because he deserves a lot of praise at the minute. Put in another good performance last night, which we've spoken about, against his old team, Crystal Palace. Starting to show consistency now. Do you think this is just another case of lack of coaching with him? Because in the past 3.5 years, there's been that question, hasn't there? Like, why are all these players starting to play really well now? All of a sudden, we've got Erik ten Hag in.
I think coaching is a massive, massive part of it, because we've seen the likes of, like you said, Luke Shaw, centre back, left back, and he's playing absolutely phenomenal. Rashford's come back to form after one of the worst seasons I've ever seen from a Man United player. And then Wan-Bissaka, we were all like, he's gone in the summer, and then he didn't leave in the summer, but it's like, he'd definitely gone in January. Like, he's definitely gone in January. And January comes around, Diallo's not quite fit because of the World Cup and he gets an opportunity, and he's pretty much just took the spot from Diallo, hasn't he? Like, he's took the shirt. That he's sticking with it, and I think for me, he was man of the match against Crystal Palace. I'd be open to other arguments, but I think he was very, very good. And I think one is coaching. That's the big factor. But then the other factor is you have to think about the confidence as well. Like, Wan-Bissaka's confidence would have been the absolute toilet, like, after last season, because he just must have been like, this team's terrible. I'm not getting game time. Everybody wants me to leave. His game wasn't being developed in the attacking sense or anything like that. So confidence won't work. He wasn't getting coached, and that ends up with a player just absolutely playing within themselves or just not thriving. Ten Hag's come in. He's probably not promised him anything. He's probably just said, look, you work hard, you listen to me, do training, etc. You'll get an opportunity at some point. And we all thought, it's not going to happen, because Diallo has played pretty much every game, hasn't he? Up to
no one would have even considered it. If you would have said to anyone a couple of months ago that Wan-Bissaka would be in this team as a starter, you'd be like, shut up.
Let alone play 3 games in a row and be one of the best players. One of the best players in the game. So Ten Hag's coaching, again, has to take credit for it. His coaching has been absolutely phenomenal. And if he's done this in 6 months, think what he can do in a few years. Like,
exactly.
Trust in the process. Give him time.
His coaching's been so impressive, and I don't know if I mentioned this story to you. I was listening to Steve McLaren the other day. He was doing an interview. I can't remember with what outlet it was with, but he was talking about his in-game management. Even that, his tactical side's really, really good when he's setting up for a game and he's preparing and all that kind of stuff's really good. But when he's in a game, he said there's been numerous situations where we've been stuck. I think they used to work together. It was at Utrecht, in the Netherlands. And he'd say, he'd look in the game, they're being dominated with possession, etc. And he'd look and he'd go, what now, Eric? And Eric would go, right, drop the number 9 into the 10 position, push the right back up a little bit, make sure the 6 is linking up with the 8 there, and little like nuances like that. Turns out they end up winning the game just from his in-game decisions. And then there's been situations where they've been dominated all over the pitch, and Ten Hag's gone, right, go man to man. He's gone, what now, Eric? Go man to man. Ended up getting possession back, bringing it back to 50-50. They go on to win the game late in the game. So he said his in-game management, and we've seen it in games ourselves, where he's tweaked little things. City game, for example, first 20 minutes of that second half, Pep pushes Kyle Walker on. They get an overload on that right-hand side, and that's where De Bruyne crosses it in. Grealish scores. Yeah. He addressed his little things in the game, moves Rashford up top, little things like that, and we end up scoring and winning the game. So his coaching, his man, everything is fantastic about him. He's literally a 10 out of 10 for me so far. Ironic because he's called Ten Hag.
Yeah, you see it in game as well, though. Like, if there's any little break in play, he'll pull somebody over. Like Casemiro or something like that, and he'll be like, you'll see him gesticulating. And he'll be telling him, and then you'll see, like, Casemiro going, okay, cool. And then he'll go and deliver that instruction to the... And then literally about 5 minutes later, something will happen. A chance to be created or a goal will score. And you're just like, literally 5 minutes ago, Ten Hag was telling them exactly what he wanted and how to sort of achieve it. So...
Well, to play someone like Luke Shaw at centre-back, who Mourinho said, I had to think for him once. I think you remember that.
Yeah.
So having played at centre-back against City as well, and keeping Erling Haaland quiet, and these guys, your coaching has got to be top level.
And you've got the Sandro sat on the bench.
Yeah.
Just there. Exactly. Who's done nothing wrong, who's played absolutely phenomenal all season, done nothing wrong other than win a World Cup and go on a holiday. Yeah. And he's put Shaw in instead, and it's absolutely paid off 100%.
Incredible. Bringing it back slightly to Wan-Bissaka, just a couple more questions, and then we'll head off. Is there potential to keep him now? Do you think? And does Diallo have his work cut out to get back into the team? Do you think?
Yeah, I think. I don't know if the plan. There was a lot of reports one day saying if a good offer came in, he'd go, and then United would go and get a right back. But I think Ten Hag's now seen it. He's probably gone. Nah, keep him.
I would
until summer.
Yeah.
Don't need to spend. He's not getting any money in January anyway. So it's just like, look, keep him because he's playing well. I'm getting something out of him. He's responding to whatever it is that's being coached to him. So keep him till the summer, and then you can reassess in the summer. Like maybe if he works more with him, he can get even better. He can develop that attacking side of the game, and again, then you save yourself some money. He's cost us 50 million.
Yeah.
So to let him go and take a loss on it, again, is bad business for United. And if Ten Hag thinks there's a player in there and he can develop him, keep him. I'm happy with it. Like, he's played well enough. I'll keep him.
If he keeps playing how he's playing, his value goes like that. Up and up and up and up and up and up. And then we can recoup closer to the fee that we actually bought him for. So either way, it's a positive. Last one on him. What's he improved on the most, do you think, from his game under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
I think going forward is a massive thing. Like, he seems confident on the ball. Like, you remember when we used to watch him on the ball, it was just like a deer on ice, wasn't it? Just, it was calamitous at times. And he'd put in the occasional cross, but it was never anything of quality. And it was always left to whoever the right winger was at the time to do the work for him. But now he's able to develop that side of the game. Like, he was doing flicks and touches that I've never seen him do in his life before. I cannot believe what he was like. There was a little thing. He got the ball and the Crystal Palace defender was coming and he dinked it over him, ran past him. He did it against City, against like Bernardo Silva. He's a fucking mentalist. Yeah.
Like that's why I'm so excited about it as well, because he's so good defensively. If you can get to a certain level, which we saw last night, that tackle with Wilfried Zaha. Zaha even said himself, like, if he knew if that was anyone else, he'd probably go in and score. Because Wan-Bissaka's got that scoop tackle. He's great at them recovery tackles.
He's probably done it. He's probably did it to him in Crystal Palace training thousands of times. And just absolutely. But like we've always said on this channel, like I've always said, as one-on-one defender, he's one of the best. You're not getting past him. He's going to tackle you. He's going to take the ball away from you, and you might think you've got the run on him, but he's quick, and he'll get.
Do you remember Mbappe?
Yeah, did it to Mbappe. Did it to Sterling. Every time we played City, he had Sterling in his pocket every week. Yeah, and that's never been in denial. His defending ability is fantastic. We've always had an issue with his attacking and he's going forward, which is what Diallo has over him. Diallo is the better player going forward. But if he can continue developing and stuff like that, we've got a competition there. Diallo and Wan-Bissaka.
In all spots.
Yeah, Wan-Bissaka is doing fantastic defensively, but Diallo had the edge of him in the attacking. But the way Wan-Bissaka's going, Diallo's going to have to shore up his defensive numbers, isn't he, to get back in the team.
It's crazy. But I'm loving this competition at the minute. Obviously, slightly let down with the result last night, but it's, in all things, considered, it's very positive for Manchester United at the minute. That concludes the show for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate the continued support. Don't forget to subscribe to our lovely channel and smash a like on the video if you love the constant content. If you want to follow us on social media for regular updates and clips from the show, all the handles are at the bottom of the graphic. And we've got a big celebration tomorrow. We're going to have everybody on the channel. Sam, do you want to tell them about that?
Yeah, I did the graphic today. I don't know how big we're going to be on the screen because there's 7 of us. There's 7 of us, but hopefully the audio should be good. Yeah, all 7 people who are a part of this channel. So Chivy, Aaron, Adam, Shreyas, Danny, me, Nick. We're all going to be on the channel. We're all going to be celebrating. So if you drink, bring your whiskey, bring your beer, whatever your positive choices, bring that. If you don't drink, just bring a beverage. We're going to chat, whatever we feel like, really. It might not even be football related, but we're just going to have a bit
go through the story as well, how we all started, the origin and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, people who are joined, they might not even know some of the people, they might not even seen some of the people off the channel, new subscribers. So it's going to be an interesting one.
We might watch some old stuff. God help me. But yeah, come join us. It might go off the rails, so it'll be fun. It'll be a fun car crash. So come join us tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. We appreciate if you come join us, and continue to support the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Please like the video. Please leave a comment. Come follow us on the socials, like Nick said. Drop us a DM. We're so close to 1,000 on Instagram, so if you could come follow us on Instagram, get us 1,000 followers, that'd be great. Drop us a DM. Happy to chat football. Go follow Nick on the TikTok. I know he's live on TikTok right now. So if you're not following us on TikTok, go follow us there. But yeah, all the good stuff.
Absolutely. And we'll see you for the big celebration tomorrow. Over 1,000 subscribers. Amazing achievement. Hopefully we get 1,000 on Insta like you just said then. And we can celebrate that as well.
That'd be
good. So
good.
thank you for tuning in, guys. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care.
Peace.